What's up, YouTube? Deadjaw here, bringing a video today. About the last 2 days and not having uploads. Very sorry about that. Had some things I had to take care of. I'll try not to let it happen as little as possible. But anyway, we're back today, and we're going to be talking about Cybernetic Horizon, and more specifically of what in the set is going to be meta, or how it's going to change the meta overall. And honestly, I feel like this is better, especially with Cybernetic Horizon, because honestly, the set is pretty disappointing. It's not really going to do a whole lot to the meta. But just to go over what's meta, I think that's, the kind of basis of my channel is playing meta, being competitive, less than fun decks, very, very, very less focus on fun decks. So we'll kind of get into this. Sorry for anyone who absolutely loves Cyber Dragons, and we're not really going to talk about their support and that's coming up in this set. Though it's actually pretty good. I don't think it's really meta changing, or it's going to really change the amount they top. It might, who knows? There could be anything that happens. But for stuff that I'm just going to be seeing, we're going to talk about. And first off, I want to talk about the Palladion archetype. I believe it's called Crusadia here in the TCG. I'm not 100% sure about that, but anyway, this archetype is actually pretty strong. It is a very good archetype. With future support, it may be even super meta changing. It could get really good depending on the support they get. But right now, the deck is really strong in itself. I think you could do decently well with this deck, and it could put up a fight against some of the decks that are played right now, though it's just not as strong as them. If you guys don't know what it does, this deck pretty much all has link monsters that allow you to climb links because they special summon to a Palladion monster to the zone it points to, I think, from your hand. And it allows you to link climb, and they all have really good effects. So, it is a generally good archetype. In the OCG for a little bit, I think when the deck first came out, it was doing a few things here and there, but kind of died down as people kind of got to understand that it's not as powerful as just some of these other decks that are being played right now. There was a few archetypes, a few deck profiles that I was looking at that looked pretty cool and actually made me want to play this deck. Next to go over, we're gonna go over the dangerous stuff, and I'm gonna say as much as I really can about this. And honestly, without this stuff in this set would be absolutely just garbage and not really worth buying at all. There's very few cards other than the danger cards that are going to be worth a decent amount of money. But the thing is, I actually don't think danger can quite keep up to the meta and the pace we're playing it without a ban list right now. I think it's a very good deck. It definitely has some strong combos, and the cards effects are absolutely insane just because they are not once per turn or anything like that. So very, very, very strong cards. But I don't think it's gonna really do too much. It's until the next set, and we see a little bit more support for them. It's kind of like Cosmos. This is the best way I'm gonna see it. Is when Cosmos first came out in Clash of Rebellion, it got a few tops here and there. I think Danger can do the same thing. But it wasn't quite where it needed to be with the support. It was kind of slower, wasn't as strong as the other decks. And then I can't remember what the set was called. I think it was something. And Dark Destroyer came out. I don't know why I'm blanking on this. I bought so many boxes of this. And Dark Destroyer came out and absolutely made the deck tier 0. Well, tier 1, I guess you would say. I don't think Cosmo is tier 0. But it made the deck very strong, and I think this is something similar that can actually happen to the Danger archetype. I think that it can still steal a few tops here and there, but I don't think we're going to be seeing, a whole bunch of these decks doing crazy things. I could be wrong about this, like I said, but it seems like it has some good synergy with Dark Worlds, but I think that it's going to take a little bit of time to fine tune the build and see the best builds that are going to be working for it. That's all I really have to say about that. Next thing we're going to talk about is the light and dark generic attribute links. So we're finally finishing the set, getting the light and the dark here. Very, 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 very good for the game. It's actually absolutely insane that we haven't had these earlier. I believe they are just going to be rares. I'm just going to check on that real quick here. I believe they are only rares. They may be supers. I actually misplaced where they were put. But it's called Hip Hoshigan and Witch's Apprentice, I believe. And you know, right now it's not really gonna do too much to the meta. We may see a few decks playing them here or there, but even like in decks that Scapegoat plays, Mrs. Radiant isn't played at all. So we may not see these do anything for a while, but I definitely see these are cards that will make it in top cuts, in top cut decks, eventually, and with going forward with the Yu-Gi-Oh arc. Yeah. Next, we're gonna talk about Mech Knight Morningstar. This card is actually really strong. It's a really good card for the Mech Knights to see. So it might do a few things. We're in the Mech Knight Invoke. They're gonna play this. It gives them more access to more of these Mech Knight monsters, and they can get rid of the one they don't really want to see at that time and get the one they want. So it works out pretty well. This card is just generally strong. So we may see it being played in a few places, but nothing crazy. And then the big one I want to talk about is Sky Striker Ace Hyotei. This card is very, very, very strong for Sky Strikers, especially, you know, the builds that play other monsters like Trick Stars and Goki and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, this card is very strong for just in general the Sky Striker archetype, but we're gonna see this being played in most decks. They're gonna play it out of one of, because it gives them access to cards like sending Engage to the graveyard, or just sending any Sky Striker card that you want for your next turn to the graveyard, or even that turn. So if you guys don't know what it does, when it attacks, inflicts damage, after damage calculation, you can send one Sky Striker spell card to your graveyard. So what you would do is you can make Hyotei go into battle phase attack, and then send something, and then you link right off into Kagari, and being able to add that card from your graveyard. It honestly gives you free advantage. You can get, you know, if you don't have your Engage going yet, but you have multiple spells in graveyard, this is a really good answer to getting back into the game. Getting free pluses is just extremely strong. And then I want to talk, before we go into Boral Sword, because Boral Sword is definitely the best card in this set. Before we go into Boral Sword, I want to talk about a little bit about Reproducus. And a lot of you may not know about this card. But the thing is, the reason I want to talk about it is because it has some utility, and we may actually see it played over Space Insulator. So here you guys can see it's just two monsters, so that is why Space Insulator is played. And then it has the same arrows as Space Insulator, which is the other reason Space Insulator is played. Now, we could see this. I think if we go into a format where attributes really do matter, we could be seeing this played over Space Insulator, because it honestly has an effect that you can trigger whenever you need. It doesn't minus your monsters 800 from pointing at them or anything like that. But the only thing is why Space Insulator will be played over Reproducus is because it can special summon itself. Now, some of you guys say, well, I never really use that effect anyway. Well, when you play Topologic Bomber Dragon and Topologic Trisbania, when you summon those are actually Cyverse monsters, so you can special summon your Insulator, triggering their effect right away. So that's why Space Insulator will probably be played over this. But I think if the meta shifts and it being really important about attributes or typing, this card could be played. It's actually pretty strong in certain ways. It's quite an interesting card. I just thought it was kind of neat, and we'd kind of talk about it. And then the last thing I really want to talk about here is Boral Sword Dragon, and this is the one, guys. This is the chase card of the set, and the reason why I don't really like this set. Boral Sword is super strong, but with its main chase card being Boral Sword Dragon, you're not really going to be making that much money. I do think Boral Sword is going to be like a $70 card, 60 to 70, maybe 80 at max when it first comes out, because this card does make OTKs more frequent. It can get 2 attacks if it changes the monster to defense position. It's just super, super strong. It can gain more attack from other monsters. It just has some crazy effects and honestly helps the OTK so much. But it's a one-of. That's the big thing, is in other sets like Circuit Break, Flames of Destruction, we had stuff like Ghost Spell and Permanence evenly matched. And all these cards that are 3-ofs that you need, and that's why, you know, Impermanence is so much. It's a 3-of, not a 1-of card. It being a 1-of, you're gonna see a lot less likelihood of seeing the chase card that you want. And then you have the danger stuff that are the other chase cards in the set. And honestly, like I said, I think danger will be extremely high off launch, but it will drop slowly as people realize it's not going to be like the deck they think it's going to be. Obviously, like I've already stated, I can be wrong about that, but that's just how I see it going, and it's going to just, you know, go down very slowly and not be that good. But yeah, Boris Sword Dragon, we are going to see this being played in a lot of decks, but it's not going to be super super expensive. The set is just honestly in general probably would not invest in like buying a box or anything of this. I don't know yet. And the only reason I would buy a box of this is to open it for the channel for you guys. Not really anything else. Skystriker Ace Hyotei is a super rare. A lot of this stuff is just meh. Cyber Dragon stuff is cool, but not that great. Well, it is pretty good. It is cool, but it's not going to be super meta changing. And then the cyber support that we're getting in it is decent, but it's, like I said, it's not really going to be super meta changing. But that's just my thoughts on what it's going to be. So I think the format relatively is going to stay the same. I don't think any deck's going to be way better because of this. Sure, there's Goki support. They may change their build slightly. I'm not really sure on the Goki support that we're receiving. I'm not sure if it's just link monsters or if we're getting some monsters. I'm not really positive, but we'll see. But that's all I have to say for today, guys. Please comment, like, subscribe, join the Brick Brigade by hitting the sub button, and we will talk to you later. See ya.